Everybody, George Soto here, and you're watching the GTM Pack podcast. I am super excited to be joined by my friend Stephanie Madsen. Stephanie, I know last time we talked, you were an SC. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. So many things have changed. In fact,
I
it's funny,
know.
right? Because we were talking about my dog, and when
Yes.
I first interviewed you for another podcast that I was hosting, it was a puppy, Arthur, and now he's literally. I'll see if I can grab him. Hold on a second. Come
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. Bring him on stage.
Bring him on stage. A little cameo.
Yes,
Little
so
cameo
much
here.
bigger now.
So much
Still
bigger.
adorable.
He's, I guess, an adult, perhaps. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Anyways.
I'm trying to think what else has changed in my world outside of big career moves. We got a dog, though, an additional dog. We adopted a pit bull mix, and yeah, he joined us on New Year's Eve.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Cool. Well, it's always great to connect with you, and thank you so much for your feedback on the product that we're building.
of course. You're
Um,
welcome.
why don't you just take a quick second to just super fast, just a little background on yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again for having me, George. Super excited to be here. So I'm Stephanie Madsen. I am a product marketer over at People.ai. New product marketer, though.
New
So
product
my
marketer.
background, yes. The main reason that we're here today is to talk about that transition. And my background is actually, for the past 6-ish years, has been in sales engineering. So very product focused, customer facing, and then now kind of moving from that one-to-one conversations to a one-to-many conversation over here in product marketing.
So, what inspired you to make that transition from the sales engineering world to now product marketing?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. It was completely unplanned. Like, hadn't thought about it, but had been partnering closely with the product marketing team for things like launches. So got some exposure to the team, really enjoyed working with them, but absolutely loved my team in sales engineering, loved my manager, still do to this day. Shout out to Jesse. So I never envisioned leaving that team, but when they kind of presented the opportunity to me, I did take some time to think about it, again, unplanned. And then I was challenged by one of our executives actually here. And he said, think about yourself in 7 years. Where do you want to be? What do you want to do? So that actually caused me to take a step back and reflect and think, okay, there's two paths in front of me. One of them is more technical. One of them is more creative. Where do I want to go with this? And lately, I had been leaning more and more creative. So I had enjoyed partnering with the product marketing team and kind of scratching that itch that I had for the creative side.
What would you say has been the biggest challenge, making that transition?
Yeah. Yeah, luckily for me, the transition was pretty easy considering it was an internal move. I knew the product, I knew the team members, so that made it really easy. But there were two things that did make it a bit challenging. The first one, of course, is always just like that self-doubt inside of you, that feeling of imposter syndrome. There's people out there with years and years of product marketing experience. Am I the right one? Is this me? Am I qualified? So there's a little bit of that, but then also just like the marketing learning curve. I had to, I had heard of, MQL, SQL, and things like that, but I had to learn a new set of terminology, a new set of tools. So was a little bit behind there and just had to play catch up.
Awesome. Real quick, what do product marketers at People AI focus on? The reason why I ask is because product marketing
Yeah.
is a lot, right? Like it means
Yeah.
a different thing based on the organization.
Yes. Such a good question. So when I first got the job, the first thing that I did was I'm a big Audible junkie. Went on Audible, downloaded a product marketing book because I said the same thing. I'm like, what the hell do product marketers do? Like, I think I know what they do, but what do they really do at a larger organization, with systems and processes and so on. And so the book that I read is called Loved by Martina Losingo, I believe it is. and it was fabulous. It's called Loved, all about product marketing within tech. So she defines product marketing as really shaping the market, shaping the perception of your product in the market, but then also driving product adoption. And how you do that is through, strategic planning. And then, of course, the tactical things that go along with executing on that strategy. So here at People.ai, we'll be executing product launches. We'll be creating one pages about the product. We'll be, hosting webinars, enabling our sales team. So there's a host of tasks and activities that go into shaping the market and really driving that adoption.
And any specific skills that you learned as an SE that transferred over really well that you think gives you an edge?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that my sales background, and specifically like sales engineering, speaking to pain and then presenting a solution, and not presenting that solution very tactically, presenting that solution in a value-based way, I think screams marketing. And I didn't know that at the time. I just thought that's how you sell.
Yeah, and for me, I think that some of the best marketers have been in sales before, right?
Yes,
Because sales and marketing alignment is such an issue. It still is an issue. We were just chatting
it
with
is.
Matt Hines, the prominent marketer in the startup world, and
Yeah,
he was just kind of like, sales and marketing alignment still an issue, has always been an issue,
always.
and we don't really necessarily know when it's going to end, because I think it's an ongoing fluid thing, right? So I
Absolutely.
think that background really bridges the gap.
It does. I think that I brought a level of credibility that I have embraced, and I welcome and I appreciate, having been on the sales side and now the marketing side. And
All
of
right.
course, it's helped build that partnership too.
Absolutely, right? It's
Yeah.
all about partnership. I'm glad you
Uh-huh.
use that word, because partnership, relationship, so important. Outside of having been in sales before,
Yeah.
what's one product marketing hack that you've seen done or that you've done yourself that you're most
Yeah.
excited about?
Yeah, I am glad you asked. So right now, one of my big projects that I'm working on is updating our website. So we're moving from one solution to another, but then we're also going to have new words. So I'm writing the website right now, and of course, like, what go-to-market podcast wouldn't talk about Chat GPT? And I don't want to be that person, but I am
No,
that
let's do it.
person.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
It's a
like,
reality, right? We have to
yes,
embrace this AI
yes.
movement, whether it's going to be Chat GPT long term or some other version, right?
Yeah. So by no means do I think that it's, replacing my job tomorrow or a content team member's tomorrow, but it's a great spot to go when you're stuck or go for inspiration. So I find myself saying, I want to talk about this and this, and then it helps me unite it, and it just like sparks something. So I would say, we're all better off by using the technology around us. We're selling technology ourselves. Why not embrace others? And use it to get your job done quicker, work harder, or work
Absolutely.
smarter, not harder. Yeah.
Well, I think, I've heard a lot of opinions, and I think we all have. If you open up your LinkedIn feed, you'll see,
Yes.
25,000 opinions on this
Absolutely.
world. So we'll see how it shakes
Absolutely.
out. But I think, I like to be optimistic and think that it is an augmentation, allowing us to do more, allowing us also to maybe have a little more balanced life. I like to go into
Yes.
work-life balance a bunch, and
Absolutely.
and this might be a tool that helps us. Speaking of technology,
Yeah.
and I know this wasn't in our prep, but I was just curious because you mentioned Chat GPT.
Yeah.
Is there a product marketing stack? Sales has its stack, demand gen, has its stack. A lot of different functions have their stack.
Yeah.
What do you think is the product marketing stack? And maybe it exists today, or maybe it's something that
Yeah.
will come in the future.
Yeah, if it exists today, I'd love to know. Someone please tell us what it is. I haven't personally run across a solution that is, hey, this is for product marketers. So today we use, the Google Suite a lot, Google Workspace to create one-pagers, create slide decks, and so on. But yeah, I think that there probably is a big gap here. How can someone like myself work better with demand generation, work better with sales? I mean, even customer success. There's this entire go-to-market team around you, all using different tools. So I think that there's an opportunity for sure.
Awesome. How do you measure success as a product marketer? And I think it's a difficult question, is what I've come
It
across,
is.
just because
It is.
it depends on what you're focusing on. Are you focusing on positioning and messaging, right? Are you focusing on creating collateral? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're so right. It absolutely changes from task to task. So if it is like someone like myself who's going through a website update right now and creating that new content, what am I thinking about? I'm thinking about how many people are visiting my website. And then I'm also thinking about how many people are converting, how many of those individuals are turning into a lead. And then from there, you're handing off to sales, and maybe you've created a pitch deck for your sales team. So then you're measuring adoption of that pitch deck and making sure your sales team's using it. And then you take it a step further, there's steps along the way. And has that deck helped convert those sales? Have they moved from, stage to stage and so on? So I think it just depends like where in the funnel you're looking, how you measure. But I think one thing that I didn't realize about marketing is that it's okay to fail and it's all trial and error. So if the website copy I'm writing today doesn't land, it's no problem. I can go ahead, easily update it, and then pivot from there as needed.
Awesome. What advice would you give product marketers around better aligning with their sales team, and then vice versa, given that
Yeah,
you've been on both sides?
absolutely. Yeah, I think that for other product marketers, I'd encourage you to listen to your sellers. I'm not saying that you have to implement and go chase every single idea and ask that they have of you, but listen to them. They are in the field. They are hearing directly from your prospects and your customers. And they can tell you what's resonating and what's not resonating. Talk to a lot of them, though, make sure it's not just one individual. But then from there, on the flip side, remind yourself that you are an expert as well. You're a product expert, you're, the market and the industry expert, the competitive expert. So don't be afraid to say, thank you for sharing. Here's my stance on that. Let's just say that it is different than what they recommended. You can share that. Because again, it is a partnership. They have expertise, you have expertise, but you never know when the next big idea will come or who it will come from. So soak it in.
And are there any sort of like, I don't know, soft skill slash tips around approaching sales and saying, hey, or maybe it's customer success and
Yeah.
saying, I'd love to sit on some of these calls. Like, how do you make sure, how do you
Yes.
anticipate maybe some objections that they might have, given that you've been on that other
Yes.
side?
Yeah, good call out. The easiest way to get over that objection is if you have a call recording solution, listen to the calls. There will be zero objection there. You just need a listener license, whether you're using, Gong, Chorus, Zoom IQ. So you can easily tap into those calls and hear from the customer directly. But then also work on building that relationship, make sure it's a give and a take. They're going to ask of you, you're going to ask of them. And don't ask for everything. Have, one or two things that you need from them. If it is listening in on that important call, or if it is, asking for an introduction to that customer, go ahead and do that. But yeah, again, just remember it's a partnership at the end of the day. We all want the same thing, which is to win more revenue. So whether you're in sales or marketing, you have the same end goal. So always align yourself on that.
Awesome. Stephanie, thank you so much for taking the time
Yeah.
to chat here and tell us about your experience. If folks want to connect with you on social media, what are the
Yes.
best channels to reach you? And maybe folks out there who are maybe thinking about making that transition from sales engineering to
Yes.
product marketing, maybe, those folks can reach out to you and get some
Yeah,
advice.
absolutely. You can always find me on LinkedIn. So go ahead and connect with me, send me a message. I'm happy to share more about my experience, that transition, or maybe what product marketing looks like here. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, have a wonderful afternoon, and thank you so much again.
Thanks. You too, George.
Bye.
Bye.